Today is July 4th of the year 2019. 243 years ago, on this very day, a group of bear colonists declared their independence from the seemingly invisible British Empire. Today is also the anniversary of the upload date of my first video, where I recorded an incident I had with a firework. The link is in the description if you'd like to see it. In this video, with my unique monotone voice, I describe the history of anniversaries, explain their appropriate usage, and provide some unique examples. Before diving into the history of anniversaries, I think I should make something clear. When I say anniversary, I'm not solely addressing wedding anniversaries. Now that I got that out of the way, let's dive in. The word anniversary was first used in the English language around the year 1230. It was found in a devotional book of nuns. In case you don't know, like me, what that is, a devotional book is a book designed for a person's own spiritual and intellectual development. The first uses of the word anniversary were closely knit with religious significance, such as the days of martyrdom of saints. I hope I didn't bore you with that. As defined by dictionary.com, an anniversary is a yearly reoccurrence of the date of a past event. This definition makes sense when looking at its Latin roots. Anniversarius, which is from the words for year, annus, and turning, versus, meaning returning yearly. So, that's the yearly history of anniversary in the English language, guys. Thank you for listening. I'll see you later. Oh wait, I'm not done yet. So, I bet you want to know the global and ancient history of the practice of anniversaries. Well, if you don't, yeah. I sure hope so because I'm doing it right now. Determining the exact date in which anniversaries officially began is kind of hard since there isn't a written manuscript of some sort that says today in year blank we're going to celebrate blah 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 blah, which happened a year ago. However, I like the way one of my sources explains the origin of anniversaries. Quote, "Assessed with time, and time passing was all that was required for an ancient people to start compiling anniversaries. Hard evidence for this is the creation of calendars. The Babylonians, Jews, Egyptians, Greeks, Hindus, Chinese, Zoroastrians, Mayans, and other societies had early calendars. Prehistoric people with no written language seem to have had a respect for time and calendars. So we have an answer. Anniversaries, or more appropriately, the practice of recognizing them, began in early human history. But what were they used for? They were most likely used for agriculture. For example, let's say you're a farmer, and you want to know when you should sow your seeds to grow food for next year. Knowing what part of the year to sow your seeds is extremely important, since if you plant them too early, the young sprouts may die, and if it's planted too late, the crops may not bear fruit, both result in famine and death. So, with the prospect of death looming over, it was essential that people recognize the annual periods of time where planting seeds was essential. So, now that we got the history of anniversaries covered, let's go to its appropriate usage. As I said earlier, the word anniversary is rooted in the word annus, or year. So I hate to say this, but your 2-month anniversary of quitting Cheetos or your 1-week anniversary of not sleeping is incorrect. So what is the correct usage? Well, anything above a year is correct. Here are some examples. Semi-centennial represents the 50-year anniversary of something. Centennial represents the 100-year anniversary of something. Quascentennial represents the 125-year anniversary of something. Sesquicentennial represents the 150-year anniversary of something, and bicentennial represents the 200-year anniversary of something. You might notice that the term for 175-year anniversary of something is missing, but due to the term not being used in wide use or public, there are several terms used in modern times. Some examples include semi-centennial, Quarto Centennial, Tercosque Septuagint Centennial, Dodransby Centennial, and Descalz Centennial. Check in sources and description if you like to read these and look at the controversy around this. Now that we've learned a mini lesson on the usage of anniversaries, let's cover perhaps my favorite part of the video, recognizing some interesting and important events that occurred today on July 4th. So I'll proceed to cover 13 events that occurred on July 4th. You get it? July 4th, 13 colonies, 13 events. Number 1. In 1776, faced with the unfair treatment by the Brits, representatives from 13 states signed the Declaration of Independence, which was a statement adopted by the Second Continental Congress. This occurred 243 years ago, and it was a monumental step to forming the United States of America. Number 2. In 1789, the founder of the nation, George Washington, signed the Tariff Act of 1789. This occurred 230 years ago and was meant to protect trade and raise revenues for the federal government. Number 3. In 1802, the U.S. Military Academy, better known as West Point, opened its doors. Opening its doors 217 years ago, the Military Academy has crunched out notable people such as Dwight D. Eisenhower, Robert E. Lee, Douglas MacArthur, and many more. Number 4. In 1803, Thomas Jefferson announced to the American people the Louisiana Purchase. Occurring 216 years ago, the Louisiana Purchase was a land deal between the United States and France, in which the U.S. acquired 827,000 square miles, or 2.1 million square kilometers. Number 5. 202 years ago, on July 4th, 1817, Chief Engineer James Gates began construction of the Erie Canal, which is one of the first great engineering works in North America. The Erie Canal encouraged westward advancement and also made New York the leading commercial city in the United States. Number 7. In a sadder note, 193 years ago, on July 4th, 1826, both Thomas Jefferson and John Adams died. Jefferson was 84 and Adams was 90. In 1799, New York passed the Gradual Emancipation Act that freed slave children after they were born July 4th, 1799. Unfortunately, they were indentured until they were young adults. By 1840, there were no slaves in New York. Oh yeah, this is number 7. 8. 125 years ago, on July 4th, 1894, the Republic of Hawaii was proclaimed in the Illinois Palace. Dole served as president of Hawaii from 1894 to 1898 until they secured U.S. annexation. Number 9. The U.S. isn't the only country celebrating its Independence Day today. The people of the Philippines celebrate today as Republic Day. In 1846, the U.S. granted the Philippines independence, which is kind of ironic. Alright, number 10. During the Cold War, the U.S. was in fierce competition with its former ally, the Soviet Union. In order to influence those behind the Iron Curtain, which included countries like Poland, Romania, stuff like that, Radio Free Europe provided its 35 million viewers news from around the world, which often included their own countries. Some of the news was censored because of the communists. Radio Free Europe officially began with its first transmission in Munich, West Germany, on July 4th, 1950, to Czechoslovakia. Radio Free Europe is credited with contributing to the demise of communist regimes throughout Eastern Europe. Number 11. The U.S. flag we have today didn't always exist. Throughout the long history of the United States, the flag has changed many times due to the addition of stars. The iconic 50-star flag we have today originates from Robert G. Heft, a 17-year-old high school student who created the flag we know today for a history project. 59 years ago, on July 4th, 1960, the 50-star flag was raised over Fort McHenry. Number 12. 53 years ago, on July 4th, 1966, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed into law the Freedom of Information Act. The Freedom of Information Act grants public access to documents or data under government possession unless the information provided falls into categories that are exempted. Number 13, and I promise you this is the last one. 3 years ago, on July 4th, 2016, NASA's Juno spacecraft successfully entered Jupiter's orbit. According to NASA's website, Juno's principal goal is to understand the origin and evolution of Jupiter. Well, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Feel free to comment on what you want to see next. And happy birthday, America.